Elephants have always been touted as having great memories, but new research suggests that dolphins and chimps could give them something of a run for their money. So, where do humans rank in all of this? I'm joined for this week's Science Chat by the Director of the Institute for Applied Ecology at AUT, Professor Steve Pointing. Hello, Professor. Thanks for coming in this morning.
Morning, Rachel.
Now, this is quite a remarkable study. Tell us how it is that, that a dolphin's memory can go back, it seems, decades.
Yeah, it's a fascinating study. I think the point is that we've had anecdotal evidence for a long time that dolphins were intelligent and possibly had long memories, but it wasn't until this study, which has just recently been published, that we really had the ability to add a timeline to that. So it all comes from the observation that in the US, dolphins in zoos are often transported between zoos for breeding purposes, so a male and female could be separated and then not see each other again, possibly for the rest of their lives. What these investigators did was recorded the unique call signs of all the dolphins around the country and then went and played them back, intermixed with other non-familiar sounds to dolphins. And remarkably, dolphins that had been separated for so long were able to recognise with a friendly display the call signs of dolphins they once shared time with.
Oh no, they're probably hearing, "There's my lover. I can hear them."
It's heartbreaking.
Wow, and so that showed that they could just, you know, hold that information for years and years.
That's right, yeah.
Oh, crikey. Okay, chimps also, they're showing that they've got pretty good memories as well, although this is short-term memory, isn't it?
Yeah, this is kind of the opposite end of the scale, but more worryingly, this shows that chimps' short-term memory is possibly better than that of a human, or many humans, and certainly
probably
me.
Better than mine,
yeah.
I would say.
Yes, well, join the club, yes. So this is a great study. It was carried out in Japan with chimps and humans, and these chimps were effectively given an iPad-like device where a numeric sequence was displayed, but also with a spatial dimension to it. And the chimps, in almost every scenario, were better able to repeat the pattern than human subjects. And to put this in context, a chimp's brain is about a third the size of ours, and although they're our closest living relative, we last shed an ancestor well over 4 million years ago. So, you know, these are fundamentally simpler creatures on paper, yet they do have this amazing short-term memory.
And does that help us, you know, learn more about our links to chimps, or, you know, how do we use that information?
Yeah, I'm not sure that it tells us an awful lot about our links to chimps, but interestingly, what it does do is perhaps give hints as to how they cope with their environment. So chimps living in the wild have to multitask, and so this sort of working memory or short-term memory is really useful when you're swinging through the trees in what's a very three-dimensional environment, and also when you're having to avoid predators, make decisions on food, and also deal with really big, complex social groups. So probably it's got better value for their behaviour rather than for understanding links to humans.
Okay, so the science, a little bit of scientific information that I find the most intriguing this week is that a few glasses of bubbly, basically, could be just the tonic to improve your memory.
Isn't this great?
This is brilliant.
I bought this at the title.
For the bubbles, and it's good for the memory. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it's a great story, Rachel. The study was carried out in rats, but I'm sure they were quite happy rats. So essentially,
slightly pickled rats, yes.
Yeah, definitely, yes. So essentially, two groups of rats. One group of rats fed regular rat food. The other had food supplemented with the equivalent of about 3 glasses of champagne a week. And those rats developed...
Lucky rats.
Yeah, lucky rats indeed. And what's more, they developed the ability in a maze where they had to memorise the direction that they had to take in order to find a treat or a reward. The rats that had the champagne diet had a 50% higher chance of navigating the maze through memory than the rats that didn't have the champagne diet.
So that tells us that if we want to improve our memory, this is loosely reading into it for personal purposes here, 2 or 3 glasses of champagne a week can expand your ability to remember things, in theory.
Yeah, quite possibly. And the time frame for this in the rats was about 3 weeks, and I'm told that that's the equivalent of about 3 human years. So it's a nice long period of champagne drinking.
For the rats, absolutely. All right, Professor Steve Pointing, appreciate your time this morning. Thank you.
My pleasure.